Oh, are we recording? We're live right now? Oh my gosh, okay. Yeah, that's exactly how I feel about doing inventory. Nobody wants to do it. No one's ready for it. Everybody hates it.
God, you are so intense.
It's the most ridiculous thing to do.
Yeah. Owning
a business or running a business.
And I force you to do it.
But it is like straight up the necessary evil to
I'm gonna move my mic.
be productive and everything. Ooh, be careful with that.
Sorry.
So
I think that it is absolutely crucial to be doing inventory because you guys have to think about how much overhead you're carrying on your vehicles.
yeah, we have probably about $5,000 worth of parts on that truck. And if you're
on
not
that truck or each truck?
each truck.
Okay.
If you're not keeping track of that $5,000 investment, you are slipping up.
And just to be 100% clear, it's not about assuming that people are thieves and they're stealing. Human error occurs at all times, but human error costs you money.
Tons of money.
It's a ton of money. So we both agree that inventory is absolutely crucial for individual truck stock and for shop stock.
Right. Shop stock's a little different story. It's harder to keep that inventory fresh, and the reason why is because, excuse me, there's a lot more product there, okay? But that's why it's so important to have these processes and procedures in line in order for you to keep track of it all. And you definitely have to do an overhaul of the inventory at least once a year. If you have
every quarter.
If you have the manpower, at least every other year.
Every quarter.
I'm talking about for the shop with
every
the
quarter.
mass. Okay.
Every quarter.
That's a lot to ask, but I
No,
get what
it's
you're
not.
saying.
I'm sorry. It's a lot of money. I want to say in our shop, we probably have at least $100,000 in material and assets, based equipment, all that stuff.
Well, there's more than that. But regardless, is like...
Let's argue. It's worth more than that.
No, well, our assets, yes.
Okay.
There's a lot more in assets.
I'm saying
but materials alone
in
the
area.
assets for the parts, yes,
Okay.
100,000.
Okay.
But one thing is if you have vehicles that hold truck stock, no matter what the industry is, you have to make sure that your technicians are taking care of that investment. You have to make sure that you are providing the proper carrying of these parts. The carrying, would that be? Sorry, Devyn's looking at me. If you are not watching this on our YouTube page, or Mechanical Hub's YouTube page, you're tripping out because she gives me the dirtiest looks, and it's hilarious to me.
I'm trying to really figure out what the hell you're saying.
You know what's funny is that
if you're not carrying this.
If you're...
Okay.
Carriers.
If you're not taking account of all of this accurately, you're losing money.
That's not what I was
and
going for.
You're losing the service aspect of your customer.
I'm going for the way that your parts are stored in these vehicles that are going on dirt roads, that are going on unmanaged roads, or even the most manicured roads. There's still vibration wearing out those parts in your vehicles if they're not secured properly. So if you have a vehicle and there's inventory, I absolutely agree with doing it at least once a quarter, so to make sure that, for one, your technicians or your service providers actually know what's on their truck, but it's in a spot that
they can better serve your customers.
They can better serve your customers, and that it's in a spot that they know where it's at, so it's faster for them to get those parts off the vehicle to better service your customer.
And it's not just that. You guys got to look at the long-term financial effects that this is going to be affecting you by not properly inventorying or even stocking your trucks.
Right.
You don't have that part on your truck. So number one, you're already at a loss of possibly losing that customer because you don't have the material. Once you leave, then the customer has the option to churn. We all know what that means. Decide that they maybe want to move on to something else. So you leave and you possibly lose that possibility of providing that service to the customer. Number two, you also have to waste gas.
Yeah, absolutely.
And time. Time, you'll never get your time back. Never. Time is like you're constantly in the reds. You're never going to get time back. So you have to really think about that. The cost of gas in the state of California is absolutely through the roof. So you have to anticipate the cost of the gas as well.
So a lot of people get scared about even diving into some kind of inventory or tracking system. And the thing is it's freaking intimidating as hell because there's a million things and a million different ways that you can do it. And you know what? I don't think there is one specific inventory system that is actually good and time saving.
It's not that hard. It just takes time. You just need to be an organized person.
What I'm getting into is you just have to start with something. Get into it and you will find your way over time.
People are
just
like,
we have.
I don't know how to count how many fittings. This is ridiculous.
What do I do? Where do I put all this stuff? You write it on a piece of paper. You make a spreadsheet.
Take a picture of it if you're lazy. Like, just write it and take a picture of it. So you know next time you're doing it, find that picture. Last time I got 3, today I got 2. I'm missing 1. It's math. It's math. But you have to understand any type of shrinkage is a loss of revenue. It's a loss of profit. It's a loss of service to your customer.
And not just that, if those parts aren't being accounted for and added to the jobs, your job cost is not accurate anymore. So that's one thing that some of our technicians, we don't really get into that much with them on that part. But if they're not properly putting on these parts on these jobs, our job cost is going to fluctuate from technician to technician, which that should be more streamlined so we actually know how much we have got to charge this customer. So it's really important to have the inventory in your truck to save you time. It's very important for you to start a system. Start it. It's not going to be perfect at first, but it's something that's going to have trials and errors, but you got to start somewhere. You got to get your feet in the water and do it. And you know what? The best thing to do is make the person that's in that vehicle do it with you. For one, you're going to have somebody that's going to help you. And number 2, they're going to better understand why it's important that these things are happening
and
that they're organized. You're holding them accountable, and they're going to understand why it's so important to keep things organized in their vehicle, because guess what?
Now they know where everything is.
You're not just wasting your time now. You're wasting their time too if they're disorganized. Hold them accountable and reliable for the situation that they're creating for all of us.
So I watch a lot of different plumbing contractor, blue collar platforms, social media, YouTube, all that stuff. And there's one that I follow, pretty well known. This person charges to give their advice. And just so you guys know, Beyond the Service is free. We're giving you guys all of this information for free.
Brought to you by our lovely sponsors, so thank you very much.
But this person that I watched has a show with their wife, and they were talking about how inventory doesn't matter. Inventory doesn't matter.
Somebody said that?
Why are you going to waste your time to take the inventory? And I thought, who the hell would pay to listen to this guy to give you this kind of advice? You guys have to understand that if you are the business owner, you paid for materials that just walked off the damn shelf or walked out of the truck.
Sorry, who gave this person the reign to tell people not to keep track of their own assets and shit?
Well, who gave us the reign to tell people what to do either? I mean, you and I are not king and queen shit.
Right.
But we have found certain ways that have made things easier in our business to where we've been able to make, good profit margins and stuff, like just by being organized. If you are not organized within your business, you have major issues.
And there's so many things that can help you do it for free. You just have to invest a little bit of time for you to design these systems. Like, we use Google Sheets a lot. Google Sheets kicks ass and it's free. They're not sponsored by this show, just so you know. But it is something free for you to help run your business. There's all kinds of stuff in there to help you. Sorry, I don't want to. Devin's looking at me like, stop plugging fucking Google.
I'm gonna kill this guy.
Right, but
he's not getting laid for a week, but we're gonna move on. So today he's like, "Hey, where's our stuff in Excel?" I'm like, what?
Yeah,
he's like, yeah, Microsoft Excel. I'm like, is this 1992? Like, what the hell are you talking about?
No one uses Excel
I haven't
anymore.
used Excel, since the last time I was in junior high in a computer class and had to do some weird formula in some stupid spreadsheet. But there's a lot of free options for you guys.
Absolutely.
And we are very pro paperless. And it doesn't mean that being paperless works for everybody, but you have to understand that our world is changing so much, and paperless really gives you such an advantage, because if you need this information and say for some reason you're off site and a coworker, an employee, owner, manager, somebody has a question for you, you can access that information from your cell phone.
And
you're not relying on that piece of paper that's sitting in your shop that has the inventory list. So I would recommend that if you do start doing some type of inventory, you do it in a paperless system.
Yeah, and I would also recommend you trying to do it yourself and figuring it out, because there's a lot, and hopefully this changes pretty soon, but there is a lot of companies out there that are charging you for shit software that does not work.
Thank you.
So please,
hey, can you
try and teach yourself first.
Can you please plug me, though? What did
We're
I
plugging
do?
Devynn. Devynn
what did I do?
created her own system of inventory.
Yeah.
For our shop on multiple different levels. And you know what? We use a ton of free will and free software to do this shit.
What the hell is free will?
Free will.
Sorry, my shit's
please
not
Google
free.
free will.
I'm pretty. God, you can't, I don't know what the hell you're talking
What
about.
is going on?
I don't know how we communicate, but we do. It's great.
Welcome. Our floor mat to our house says, "Welcome to our shit show."
It does say that. You walk into our house, it says, "Welcome to our shit show," because that's what free will is: the power of acting without necessity or faith.
Restraint.
Okay, free will. I get it. It's a thing. I just didn't think it applied there.
It means that you are willing to empower yourself to do it.
Okay,
basically.
so the power of positivity.
Sure. And we will have an episode on that. If you have not watched that, stay tuned or go back and check that out. Anyways, Mechanical Hub, beyond the service. And this episode was about how to love your inventory system.
Yeah, it sucks, but do it because you need to. You'll thank yourself later. Believe me. Get yourself a 6-pack, pull up your Microsoft Excel sheet, and get that shit done, dude, because you need to.
Okay, sorry, I know we're supposed to close the show. My favorite thing to do is inventory by myself in the middle of the night with a 6-pack. She knows. She watches me on camera doing it.
I hate it.
Later. See you guys soon.